Hey everybody, welcome back to Everything MTG. My name is Justin. We're glad to have you here. We're covering the last day of spoilers for Ultimate Masters today, and we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. There's a couple I missed from yesterday because they put them up at like 11 o'clock at night, so we'll start there. We have Seize the Day. 3 and 1 red for a sorcery. Untap target creature. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. This has flashback for 2 and a red. Amanda, this sounds like something you would play. Sounds really, really stupid. That's an awesome card to see a reprint on. I'm not covering prices today just because they literally spoiled the last 150 cards. It would take me literally forever. And with Thanksgiving and Black Friday coming up and everything, I just don't have time. So for these last ones, you'll unfortunately have to look them up yourself to see value, or just do a quick Google search on value in Ultimate Masters, and I'm sure somebody will have already crunched the numbers. 3.33 repeating, of course. Anyways, we also have Conflagrate, X, X, and 1 red for sorcery. Conflagrate deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. This also has flashback for 2 red and discard X cards. The flashback cost on this is not great. The divided as you choose among any number of targets is pretty good though, but it could be very expensive because it's double X to hit each target and deal X damage to each of them. So it's a little complicated, not that much though. I'm not a big fan of that. We have Dakmor Salvage, which is a land. It enters the battlefield tapped. It taps for a black mana, and it has Dredge 2, which is pretty sweet. I actually didn't know there was any lands out there that had Dredge on them, so this is interesting, and it seems pretty cool. I mean, especially in Dredge strategy, even maybe not in a Dredge strategy, just as a regular land, maybe have a little side strategy on that. We're seeing a reprint of Terramorphic Expanse. I'm sure you all already know what that does, so I won't explain it. We have Rogue's Passage, which is a land. It taps for waste, or you can pay 4 and tap it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Great staple card for commander, things like that you want to push creatures through for combat damage, either on your commander to get them down for commander damage or gain life, draw cards, etc. Our next card is Mistvale Plains. It is a land plains. It enters the battlefield tapped. It taps to add white, and you can pay 1 white and tap it. Put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Activate this ability only if you control 2 or more white permanents. It's a very interesting effect, especially in white. I can definitely see its uses. I might have to pick one of those up. That's pretty cool. We got Mage Ring Network up next. This is also a land. It taps to add waste. You can pay 1, tap it, put a storage counter on Mage Ring Network, or you can tap it and remove any number of storage counters from Mage Ring Network to add waste for each storage counter removed this way. Historically, storage lands are not the best, but they're better than nothing. So this certainly could have some applications, although I personally would not play it. There's definitely better things out there, even in the budget realm. So look into that first before you go for something like this. Cool art on it, though. We have Desolate Lighthouse, which is a land. Tap to add waste. Pay 1 red and a blue. Tap to draw a card, then discard a card, aka loot. Pretty great land, especially in something like Commander. If you're playing like an Izzet Chemister deck, what's his name? Mizzix of the Magnus. It would be really awesome in that, I think. So that's a pretty sweet land for red-blue. But they have so many ways to draw already. Do they really need a land to help them draw? I don't know. We got Vessel of Endless Rest. This is a 3-drop artifact. When it enters the battlefield, put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. You can tap to add 1 mana of any color. This is a weird one. It's kind of like a Dinget, except it has that bonus effect of like get something back from your graveyard. So I'll have to look into that. That's a common. That can replace all the Dingets in my commander decks. We have Prismatic Lens, which is a 2-drop artifact. Tap to add waste, or pay 1 and tap to add 1 mana of any color. Just a little bit of color filtering. At the 2-drop, it's really not that bad. Budget option for something like a 5-color, 4-color deck, maybe even a 3-color deck. That's awesome. Next up is Patchwork Gnomes, 3-drop, 2/1 artifact gnome. Discard a card, regenerate Patchwork Gnomes. This is like your typical old-timey artifact effect. Yeah, here, you gotta see. Amanda's gotta look at this picture. Hold on. Look at this picture. They're like freaking scarecrows. Yeah, it's crazy. They're adorable. Yeah, interesting effect. Pretty cool. 2-1 for 3. Discard a card to regenerate. It's not a scarecrow. It's a gnome. Unfortunately, we don't have tribal gnomes yet. Make sure you go spam the Twitter page of Magic the Gathering and Morrow so they make gnomes a thing next set. Myr Servitor costs 1 colorless for a 1/1 artifact Myr. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Myr Servitor is on the battlefield, each player returns all cards named Myr Servitor from their graveyard to the battlefield. Not a bad card. In Commander, there is literally no application for this card whatsoever. But in a regular deck, it could definitely come in handy if you're playing 4-ofs. You can get them all back from your graveyard, use some sacrificing effects to gain life, whatever. Pretty good. We got Heap Doll, one of Amanda's favorite cards, I assume. It's a one colorless 1/1 artifact Scarecrow. Sacrifice Heap Doll, exile target card from a graveyard. This is just a nice way to abuse graveyard hate. Amanda does it very well. We were thinking about doing a deck tech on her Scarecrow deck, and if we do that, we'll cover it when we get to that. Cathodion is a 3-drop 3/3 artifact construct. When it dies, add 3 waste to your mana pool. So basically just cantrips the mana for itself. Really not bad at all. It's a pretty good card. A couple of my favorite cards coming up here. We've got Ulamog's Crusher, which is an 8-drop 8/8 Eldrazi with Annihilator 2. If you're not familiar, whenever the creature attacks, defending player sacrifices X permanents, X being however much Annihilator they have, in this case 2. It also attacks each combat if able. I love the Eldrazi, the original Eldrazi. The new ones are okay, but I love the original Eldrazi set. It's my favorite set. I used to play this all the time. It's really great. The next one's even better. Artisan of Kozilek, 9-drop for a 10/9 Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It has Annihilator 2. So your Ulamog's Crusher gets killed. You play good old Artie of Kaz. You bring back the Ulamog's Crusher, and then you're annihilating for 4. Great time. Great time to be had by everybody. Oh man, I love Eldrazi so much. We have turn 2 Mist, which is 1 colorless and a hybrid white or blue mana for an instant. Exile target creature, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Your very typical blink effect, but it's nice because it is hybrid. Shielding Plaques is 2 and 1 green-blue hybrid for an enchantment aura with enchant creature. When Shielding Plaques enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Hexproof. That's really good, actually. You get the cantrip on there. It's hybrid. It's really inexpensive. Not bad, man. Not bad. Scuzzback Marauders is 4 and a hybrid red or green for a 5/2 Goblin Warrior with Trample and Persist. That's actually pretty good because of the Persist mechanic on there. That's a decent card in Gruul. You don't see too many red and green Goblin Warriors either. We've got Safehold Elite, which is 1 and 1 white or green hybrid for a 2/2 Elf Scout with Persist. Not even death will keep her from her mission, is the flavor text on there. Really not that bad. That can be abused so badly with some of those elves that say, like, when an elf comes into the battlefield, you get a 1/1 counter or whatever, and you just keep doing the persist thing, and then they got, like, the magistrate, I think it is, that taps and puts a 1/1 counter on all your creatures, so it would take away the 1/1 counter, and then you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Oh my god, that would be so dumb. Shalai, yeah. Or if you have the one where it comes into the battlefield and it just, like, gets a 1/1 counter when it comes in if it's an elf, and it's like, oh my god, the implications of this card are ridiculous. We have Rakdos Shred Freak, which is 2 red or black hybrid mana. So 2 red, 2 black, or any combination thereof for a 2/1 human berserker with haste and some pretty sweet art. He's not very useful, in my opinion. He's a pretty basic vanilla creature. In the limited or draft, though, he'd probably be pretty good for you. We have Plume Veil, which is 3 hybrid white blue mana. So 3 white, 3 blue, any combination thereof for a 4/4 elemental with flash, defender, and flying. That's really not bad for 3, especially being hybrid mana. Flashing in a 4/4 flyer is kind of ridiculous. What? I do. I don't see why she wouldn't. We have Murderous Redcap, which is 2 and 2 red or black hybrid mana for a 2/2 Goblin Assassin with some of the creepiest art I've ever seen, except for, it's not Exhume. What's the other one? Like Macabre Waltz? Yeah, Macabre Waltz. Some of the creepiest art since Macabre Waltz. When Murderous Redcap enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it comes in as a 2/2. It's basically a free shock on a stick, and then you get the persist, so it'll come back and it'll hit something else for 1. Decent effect. Double Cleave, I've used this to some hilarious effect before. 1 and 1 red-white hybrid mana for an instant. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. If at first you don't succeed, hit them again. Love that flavor art, or flavor text. The art looks pretty sweet. I mean, he's got a blazing sword. Yeah, that guy's doing some work. Pretty good card. We have Canker, I was going to say Cankerous. Canker Abomination, which is 2 and 2 green-black hybrid mana for a 6/6 Tree Folk Horror. As Canker Abomination enters the battlefield, choose an opponent. Canker Abomination enters the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter on it for each creature that player controls. So, that definitely has some implications in Commander. It could be pretty good, especially in like a Doran Siege Tower deck. That'd be great. Beckon Apparition, this is one of my favorite cards in black-white. It is 1 white or black hybrid mana for an instant. Exile target card from a graveyard. Create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. The art looks amazing. It's a very simple effect. It's super inexpensive. It is graveyard hate, and it gets you a flyer. Pretty great. War Leader's Helix is 2 and 1 red and 1 white for an instant. War Leader's Helix deals 4 damage to any target, and you gain 4 life. This is basically just shock, but 4 times the mana, and you gain life.
Didn't she run Hotel Transylvania 3?
She did, yeah. So that's not bad at all. Next up is Vengeful Rebirth. This is some freaking sweet art. This might be my favorite art in Magic the Gathering. Look at this. Hold on. I'll open this up for you. Check this out. This is so crazy. Look at that. Yeah. It's like stained glass almost. Pretty cool. So it is 4, 1 red and 1 green for sorcery. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. If you return a non-land card to your hand this way, Vengeful Rebirth deals damage equal to that card's CMC to any target. Exile Vengeful Rebirth. If you played around this card a little bit, it could be extremely broken, and I like that. I also like the art, so we're just going to call that a win. Urban Evolution's up next. It's 3, 1 green, 1 blue for a sorcery. Draw 3 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. This is not a bad card. Drawing 3 is usually something that costs you 4. So paying 1 extra to also get the ability to play an additional land is great, especially in Simic. Reviving Vapors is 2, 1 blue and 1 white for an instant. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library and put 1 of them into your hand. You gain life equal to that card's CMC. Put all of the cards revealed this way into your graveyard. I suppose if you desperately need life gain, this is a pretty decent card. Otherwise, I don't know. There's better cards out there. Golgari Charm is getting a reprint. 1 black, 1 green for an instant. Choose one of these 3 modes. All creatures get -1/-1 till end of turn. Goodbye tokens. Destroy target enchantment, or regenerate each creature you control. This is amazing for regenerating each creature you control. When you're playing tokens like green-black elves, and somebody slaps down that Wrath of God, and they're freaking yucking it up, that's when you throw in good old Golgari Charm, and you just, poo all over their day. It's always a good time. I'm actually surprised to see that they're reprinting this card, considering it came out like 1 set ago. Garna the Bloodflame, right? Didn't they just print her in Dominaria or 2019? Yeah. She has, 3 a red and a black for a 3/3 legendary human warrior with flash. When she enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste. She's a generally good card. She could be generally your general as a good card. Ha ha ha. Decent. Yeah, I know. Amanda said, I'm retarded. Don't make fun of my intelligence. Counter Squall is 1 blue, 1 black for an instant. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller loses 2 life. This is just literally better than Negate. If you're playing blue-black, you should play this. Blast of Genius is 4, a red and a blue for a sorcery with Ral. Is it Chemister or whatever in the art? He looks pretty sweet. Choose any target. Draw 3 cards, then discard a card. Blast of Genius deals damage equal to the discarded card's CMC to that permanent or player. Pretty good, although for 6, I'm kind of like, ugh. Yeah, I don't know about for 6, but it does look like a pretty sweet art on that card, so we'll give it a pass for now. Wild Hunger is 2 and a green for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn, and it has flashback for 3 and a red. This is actually a pretty great card, especially in a big stompy Gruul deck. Getting that trample in there, +3/+1 at a surprise 3 mana is amazing. So, good reprint. Wickerbow Elder is 3 and a green for a 4/4 Treefolk Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, it comes in with a -1/-1 counter on it, making it a 3/3. Pay green, remove a -1/-1 counter from it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. If you have ways to proliferate, this thing can destroy so many artifacts or enchantments. It's like seriously dumb. That's a pretty great card for something like Atraxa. Atraxa's in green, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she's not in red. Yeah. Walker of the Grove is 6 and double green for a 7/7 elemental. When it leaves the battlefield, create a 4/4 green elemental creature token, and you can evoke it for 4 and a green. I don't like it. We'll just leave it at that. I just don't like it. Next up, we have Verdant Eidolon, which is 3 and 1 green for a 2/2 spirit. You can pay 1 green to sacrifice Verdant Eidolon, add 3 mana of any one color. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you may return Verdant Eidolon from your graveyard to your hand. Really not a bad effect for a little bit of ramp, especially if you're playing a multicolored deck, green-red or green-black even. This would be really great. Our next card is Stinger Fling Spider, 4 and 1 green for a 2/5 spider with reach. When Stinger Fling Spider enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature with flying. Typical spider that has reach instead of death touch. It destroys a creature with flying instead. 2/5 for 5 is not great, but I guess with the reach and the destroy effect, it's okay. Staunch-Hearted Warrior is 3 and 1 green for a 2/2 human warrior with heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Staunch-Hearted Warrior, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Staunch-Hearted Warrior. Not too shabby. We're looking at Spider Spawning, 4 and 1 green for a sorcery. Create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach for each creature card in your graveyard. Has flashback for 6 and 1 black. This is a pretty great card. I have used it to good effect before, so I like seeing it here. We have Snake Umbra, 2 and 1 green for an enchantment aura with enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Of course, it has totem armor. Card draw in green is always a welcome sight, so this is a nice include. We have Shed Weakness, which is 1 green for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You may remove a -1/-1 counter from it. Satyr Wayfinder is 1 and 1 green for a 1/1 Satyr. When Satyr Wayfinder enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. Pulse of Mirasa is 2 and 1 green for an instant. Return target creature or land card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. You gain 6 life. For 3 at instant speed and the life gain there, that's really not that bad. But you could just play something like Eternal Witness instead. Which is probably what I would end up doing over this card. We have good old Prey Upon, which is 1 green for a sorcery. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. The very basic fight effect. Next up is Penumbra Worm, 5 and 2 green for a 6/6 worm with trample. When it dies, create a 6/6 black worm creature token with trample. So it basically cantrips itself into another 6/6 with trample. For 7, I suppose that's not terribly bad. If you can find a way to cheat it out, it'd be pretty decent. Kodama's Reach is seeing a reprint, 2 and 1 green for Sorcery Arcane. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, and put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Excuse me 1 second, I'm getting a phone call. Next up, we have, let's see, Hooting Mandrills, 5 and 1 green for a 4/4 ape with Delve and Trample. That's kind of meh. I guess they thought the Delve would kind of make up for the expensive mana cost, but not really in my opinion. We have Groundskeeper, 1 green for a 1/1 human druid. For 1 and 1 green, you can return target basic land card from your graveyard to your hand. Decent effect if you're playing like a Titania or something like that that relies on lands pretty heavily. That would be good. Golgari Brownscale is 1 and double green for a 2/3 lizard. When Golgari Brownscale is put into your hand from your graveyard, you gain 2 life, and it has Dredge 2. I'm honestly not sure how good that is. I'm not supremely familiar with Dredge, so this could be great. To me, it just seems meh, but to a Dredge player, this could be amazing. I'm not sure. We have Crushing Canopy, which is 2 and 1 green for an instant. You can choose one of these 2 listed modes: destroy target creature with flying, or destroy target enchantment. Not a bad card at all. Instead of playing Naturalize, I would definitely play that if you had to play either. Hopefully you don't have to play either, but if you do, there's the one you should go with. We have Brawn for 3 and 1 green. You get a 3/3 Incarnation. I don't know if there's any other types like that in the game. I'm sure maybe a couple. With Trample, as long as Brawn is in your graveyard and you control a forest, creatures you control have Trample. That's really not bad, giving everything Trample just due to that effect. But then again, you could just play like Nylea, the god from Theros, and I believe she does the same exact thing. So I'd probably rather do that because she's a bigger body, and I think she costs like almost the same, if not the same. Our next card is Boneyard Worm. For 1 and 1 green, we get a Star Worm. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. I guess not bad for a 2-drop. If you drop it late game, it could be pretty big and stupid, but it doesn't have trample. Then again, you're in green, so the chances you have something to give it trample, like Brawn or Nylea, are pretty good. Boar Umbra is getting a reprint for 2 and 1 green. You get an enchantment aura with enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3 and totem armor. It's basically what like Oaken Skin. What's it called? Somebody just played it against me in MTGA. That gives like +3/+3. Except this has totem armor, so it's strictly better. Not too terrible, I suppose. We got Basking Root Wallow, which is 1 green for a 1/1 lizard. You can pay 1 and a green, and it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You can activate this ability only once each turn. It also has Madness for 0, which is pretty crazy. This card actually seems really, really good. I would probably play this in 60 card. Not so sure about Commander, but it looks really good. Yeah, man, early game aggro with that Madness cost too. That's crazy. Young Pyromancer is 1 and a red for a 2/1 human shaman. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token. I've used Young Pyromancer in my 60 card elemental deck, among other burn, counter burn related decks. He's pretty great card. I know he saw, I believe, some standard play back in the Return to Ravnica block, so he's not bad at all if you're going tokens. Undying Rage is 2 and 1 red for an enchantment aura with enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't block. When Undying Rage is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Undying Rage to its owner's hand. I guess that's not too bad of an effect. +2/+2 for 3. Can't block, but it keeps recurring itself. That seems pretty good. Let's see. Oh my gosh, there's so many pages to go. Well, we're gonna call it here for today. I'm probably gonna wrap this up on my... Yeah, I'm definitely gonna wrap this up on my next video. They decided to spoil like all 150 cards at one time, so this is taking forever. You know, I can't believe they dropped them all at one time, but it's all commons and uncommons, so it's no big surprise there. I'm sure these videos aren't nearly as interesting as the other ones. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you want to keep up with the next spoiler video, subscribe to the channel, throw out a like if you like the content, like what we're doing here, and share with your friends if you think they like Magic the Gathering content. Other than that, leave a comment if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to interact with me. I like to interact with you. Other than that, guys, take it easy.